Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined on the analysis desk by the Tess from the Copenhagen Wolves. Very well played there.
Thank you, Demon.
No problem, no problem. We are going to go on towards some Twitter questions, which is why we've got the Tess on here. And the question was, what team do you think has the biggest chance of an upset in the playoffs and why? And the playoffs, of course, coming up next week. And let's just remind you of those playoffs. It's going to be SK Gaming versus Against All Authority, and it's going to be the Copenhagen Wolves versus Evil Geniuses. And you will be, if you win that, going through to face Fnatic.
Yeah, so it's going to be hard. I mean, it's EG, and we just lost to EG today. So they're looking really strong. It's the only team we lost to in the Super League right now. So they're looking really strong. Like, the biggest upset is, I think it's pretty, like, straightforward. It's going to be AAA. Like, if they beat SK, it's going to be such an upset.
It would be a big upset. It'd be an upset for SK, and then it could be an upset for Gambit. But we got a couple of responses here, Jason, if you want to do the first one.
Yeah, sure. We have from @Robbie Mihal. Says he thinks the Copenhagen Wolves can cause the biggest upsets because they are very strong, just not as consistent. And, you know, I look at the consistent part. I think they've been playing really consistent the past couple of weeks.
And it gets me. I mean, you're obviously here, and you've had a fantastic week. You started 0-9 for God's sake.
Yeah.
And if you actually look at your score, I think you ended up going like 14-5 or something ridiculous like that. If that's not consistent, guys, I don't know what is.
And then you have to look at this, though. I mean, I can understand why he says the Wolves, because they went from 0-9 at the beginning of the season to potentially winning the playoffs. Like, that would be like the Cinderella story.
I mean, it is consistent. It's always consistent. We were consistently losing at the start.
That is true. There you go.
Very true, very true. I think it was 12-6 you've gone, actually. Maybe 13-6. Not too sure if that's updated. But that's what you've gone. That's not bad. Yeah, 2 for 1.
It's pretty good.
That's a pretty good rate when you consider the likes of Fnatic, Gambit, SK Gaming, EG. I mean, what were your original thoughts when you qualified for this in Warsaw and the FU Bjergsen came out from Deficio? And even he predicted, you know, if you came up against Millennium, you weren't going to win. You 2-0'd them. You'd gone into the LCS. What were your overall thoughts when you first qualified?
I mean, we qualified against Millennium, which were like Top Gun's favorites. As you said, we didn't expect to beat them, and we built up a lot of hype going 2-0 against them. So we had a lot of, well, we had a little bit of pressure on us. We're still not the new team, but we had some pressure on us. We weren't really sure how we were going to do, to be honest, because it's all these great teams that we haven't played that much against, and well, it didn't go so well. We had a lot of close matches, but obviously we went 0-9, so.
I remember casting the group stage of you guys where you played versus against All Authority, and they just wiped you guys with the floor, to be honest. They ran like a Karthus, Ezreal, Lux combo where they would just blow up someone and just roll all over you. And actually, Quickshot and I were casting that. We're just looking at it like, wow, this isn't the Wolves we expected. But then you guys got through group and you came back into it, like I said, 2-0 Millennium, and we were caught off guard. But I guess that's like the low points, and on the high points of the team is that you guys can surprise people.
Yeah, I mean, we came into the qualifier, we played the very first match against AAA. We weren't quite sure what to expect. They come out with the Karthus, the Lux, like in the same comp, and they just demolished us. And we were kind of down with that, like by that. But then we came up against, I think, Moops' team, I don't remember their name, and TCM, and we got some pretty convincing victories. And we were kind of back. We knew we had to face Millennium, but we were kind of...
And what do you think of the other teams? Obviously, coming up, it's going to be Against All Authority. You know, you just talked about them. How do you feel they've done? They've obviously managed to secure 6th spot. They're going to be playing SK Gaming next week. How do you think that will work out between them? I
mean, AAA, they're a strong team. They've been pretty consistent throughout the season, I think. Since they replaced Coralius with Dude, they've grown even stronger. So they're actually looking pretty strong right now, I think, and they have potential to beat SK.
So we'll see how that works out. That will be next Friday, but right now it's going to be Against All Authorities facing off against the Dragonborns. And well, you can see I've changed places, which means Joe Miller has changed places. He is going to be taking this one away with Trevor Quickshot Henry.
Thanks a lot, guys. Against All Authority versus Dragonborns is coming your way in just a couple of minutes here. Game number 7 of our final day of Super Week. Against All Authority have looked pretty strong so far this weekend and locked into that 6th position, which will give them the quarter-final playoff match against SK Gaming. That addition of Dude and having the gaming house in there finally has really, really helped out their game. Dragonborns, on the other hand, they're bottom of the league. That position is safe for them right now, if you can call it safe. That's probably not the right word to use. use.
Yeah.
But they will definitely finish in that 8th spot. So it's all about pride here in this in the final game for both teams in the regular season.
Yeah, exactly. And earlier today, both teams are coming into this with a loss. So it's something that they're going to need to bounce off of and pretty much come back from it. But as the positions are not at stake, as this is just a game for pride and for practice, going into the playoffs for Against All Authority and going into the summer promotion tournament for Dragonborns, this is where they can either try something new or just try to perfect their calling and communication. Because, you know, we seen the relegation video earlier, and you heard the Dragonborns manager saying, well, we're pretty much going into playoffs and we've got a bye week and it's time to boot camp.
Yeah, that's practice time for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what we see in this one, because Dragonborns are a team that did different things anyway,
Exactly.
so maybe this one's going to be a real fun one. Let's have a look at the lineups of both teams, starting with Against All Authority on the blue side. Freddy122 in the top lane, probably. Virtual in the jungle, Schley in the middle, and No Dude, the AD carry and support.
And of course, they're coming into this matchup with a 3-0 head-to-head with the Dragonborns. Yamato Cannon in the top lane, Maluno in the jungle, Shushay in the mid lane, Hosan and Movert in, of course, the duo lane.
So, bans and picks, I said we might see something interesting. Do we want to predict what we're going to see banned out, apart from, you know, maybe Draven?
So it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens, because Shushay's been playing AP Cannon quite a lot, to varying levels of success. He's had a couple of very good moments, but for the most part, it hasn't had much of an impact on the matchup. We've also seen Yamato Cannon trying his hand at Jace. We've also seen Jace being played by Hosan. So some new, slightly different picks to, you know, what we have been seeing. But I imagine Jarvan's going to be a priority ban probably for both teams, as we know Virtual and both like to run that particular champion. So we'll see if that is going to be the case. And the obvious ones of Shen, Twisted Fate. It'll be interesting to see how that is handled, because Shen and Twisted Fate are champions we don't see too much of from the Dragonborns, but we know that they can be played by Against All Authority.
Definitely, and we are going to get into that ban and pick phase here in just a little second. We know Against All Authority blue team, they get first ban and first pick. So we know there's no positional switching going on from the result of this one. It's all about pride. Maybe, as we said, trying out something new in a competitive environment before they get into that playoff phase for Against All Authority, and of course the promotion for the relegation, I should really say, for Dragonborn. So here we go then. First bans coming out: Kha'Zix and Kale banned for Against All Authority, and Shen for Dragonborns.
I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Lux maybe slip through the cracks. It could be picked up by either team. We've actually seen both teams playing it. Shushay having some very good performances on Lux, and of course, Karthus being removed from the champion pool. Another one that's traded back and forth between the members of Against All Authority. I actually said to Slayer last week, who's the better Karthus between you and Freddy? And he just had a sly giggle and said, well, we see.
He said, I think his answer was we should 1v1.
There we go.
And figure out
That's
that one.
it. That's
So
it.
who knows? We might see that in the future. Final ban here for Against All Authority. Surely a Draven ban.
If Draven is not banned, they might just zed it through, which does look to be the case.
Or play him.
Or play him. Now, I don't know if Nono's going to pull that one out, because he has played a lot of Ezreal and Misfortune. 9 times Ezreal, 4 times Misfortune. So we'll see how they decide to handle that one. You have to imagine that if Draven is there, that Hosan is going to want to pick it, and you can see it's instantly being picked up. Freddy with a big smile. They might just be saying, look, let's go head-to-head. Let's just play our best and you play your best, and put in a good show for everybody that's busy spectating.
Well, there was a smile there for Freddy, so maybe trying to bait them out with that Draven pick. Maybe they got something up their sleeves. It will be Draven locked in there, and also Jarvan the 4th for the Maluno.
So not too surprising there. Maluno does get targeted, banned from Jarvan the 4th in many of the games that he does play. If Virtual does lock this Nasus in, it is one of his most played 5 times this season already out of the 27 games. So it's a pretty good percentage. Of course, Renekton for Freddy's another good one. But in terms of the other champions that are available, I think Kale was banned, so the only other high priority pick would be a Twisted Fate, but Shushay is not particularly well known for playing it, so maybe Lux, maybe Cannon again.
Maybe Lux. I think Lux is a good chance of that coming out here in this one. Some of Dragonborn's best performances, aka some of their few wins, have had that Lux in the team. So we'll see about that. Dragonborn's now next up for this one. And there is a Nunu. Now, a Nunu which we've seen in mid lane, in top lane as support. Can go in the jungle. He's just Nunu, you know, he's a boss.
I think that would be a solo lane if it does get locked in, but I am expecting a Taric to come out for Mover. Whenever they have been able to play that Draven, it is comboed with the Taric, and it does very, very well at the early levels. I still remember them tearing apart the SK bottom line with that same combination. You can see big smiles for Hosan and for Shushay at the moment. I genuinely think they're talking about who's going to play this. And I believe it'll be either Shushay or Yamato. I don't actually think that's going to be either a support or a jungler. And that would make it Shushay's pick. I'm still predicting that if it is locked in.
Riven locked in here for Dragonborns, and that seems to be, well, that's a pick that we've not seen from them so far. In fact, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't think we've seen Riven once in the European LCS.
No, not in the European LCS, but we have seen it over in North America with some just mind-blowing plays. Bottom lane quadra kill on that inner turret, which I distinctly remember. So we'll see how that pans out. There was a lot of grins between Hosan and Shushay, so we don't know who's going to play what in terms of the champion picks, because they have been known to swap roles and swap things around. So at the moment, Yi was hovered over there. Morgana and other champions that we haven't seen much of. I don't think we've seen Yi at all this split, actually, now that I think about it. So that might be a first, and I definitely like to see it. They'll get the resets with the Alpha Strikes.
We've both had 1 week out during the period, so unless it was in those weeks,
exactly.
I'm pretty ssure about that one. Morgana is another one which, you know, North America, we have seen.
Yeah.
In Europe, though, not at all.
So Morgana on 3.5 balance, she did get a little bit more useful. Her Dark Binding the Q had its mana cost reduced at max ranks by a fair amount, and her ultimate got dropped a lot as well, from a scaling of 100 to 150, 200 down to just 100 flat. So it just makes her more usable the longer a game goes on, because she doesn't have insanely high mana costs. I still feel like a Taric is going to be locked in here for Move It, or another form of support. Lulu is available, who Move It has played, and Sona is available as well. So we'll see what they decide to lock in there. Or they're going to just throw everything out the window and lock in the sapling tossing Maokai. Okay, so in terms of...
Let's try and break this down then.
Okay, Dragonborn's been known for swapping. Okay, so I don't know who's going to go where. If Shushay is going to take Jarvan into the mid lane, it's not the first time that we've seen it. I remember Ocelot running it. I think Shushay's done it himself, actually, in one of the games. So that may be the case. I still feel like it's going to be swapped around. I'm not 100% sure about that. In terms of the current duo lane of the Nunu and the Draven, he's got a lot of early game damage from his own abilities, and the movement speed and attack speed from Blood Boil is just going to accelerate that through the roof.
Really interesting lineup here from Dragonborns. We said it before, nothing really on the line except pride in this one. So good environment in a competitive environment to try new things against a team which, you know, against Authority are in form right now. There's very happy no as per usual, and that's obviously infectious. I'd imagine that the AAA gaming house is the happiest house in Cologne.
It would definitely be. With that many smiles and that much personality, it's always great. And Dude always does the dishes, so what a score. We did see a champion swap in the last few seconds of that, and it was Jarvan for Maokai. So Jarvan is going to be in the jungle, and we're going to see AP Maokai, played by Shushay, in the mid lane. Ironically, against a Morgana, that's not too bad of a setup, because Morgana, he's going to be able to sidestep her, get away from her and things like that, so I quite like that. But it's going to be interesting. You know, Shushay has been quite vocal. He likes to play new champions, and he's pulling out Maokai in the mid.
There was Virtual scratching his beard, wondering what's going on here. But this is definitely going to be an interesting one. Game 7 of 8 here on our Super Sunday of the final week of the European LCS Spring Split. So, what can we expect at these early stages then? We're going to get into game here in just a moment. Of course, against Authority on the blue side, Dragonborns on the red side. Level 1, Trevor, if you will.
So this is going to be a difficult level 1 for both teams, because they both have the ability to put a lot of pressure down, and actually some pretty hard CC, depending on the abilities that they take. If, for example, Riven goes for her stun or for her knockup, that's an AoE ability that can land. You have Dark Binding, you have Death Sentence. So at the moment, you can see against Authority moving very far forward. Move It is just off to the side, and if AAA go aggressive, they may be able to throw out some CC abilities. I feel like both teams have advantages, and Hosan being the bravest of the lot.
brave. He definitely is. As a Dark Bind is actually going to land onto him there. Can he get away from this one? Yep, no problem as the saplings come out there and explode onto Virtual. Hosan's actually going to... No, he's not. I thought he was just about to
It's not over
get away.
yet.
It's not over just yet. The Dragonborns are actually coming in for this one. They're going to go for Virtual. He gets knocked up slightly, but it's Yamato cannon that's going very low. The Ignites are down. No one has died just yet. Focus now is on Dude. Then switched over to Freddy. He's going to pop his elixir, but it will be first blood to Draven. They could surely get more from this one. No, going to have to flash away. This was a crazy, crazy start.
Very well played by both teams, though, trading back and forth for such a prolonged time. Freddy going down means he's drank that red pot already. He's at a disadvantage. Hosan's trying to recall and spend some of that money, and it went to arguably the worst possible person on Dragonborns for AAA, because all of a sudden, Draven's going to come back into lane probably with another Dawn's Blade, if not just the boots and pots.
Yeah, boots and the pots coming out there for Draven, for Hosan, of course. That's going to make things a little tougher for Against All Authority. We know how aggressive this man is. If you look down the summoner spells, the lack of them is what is important right now. A barrier and an exhaust, a flash and a smite. That's all that's left for Against All Authority. Everything else is gone. And it's a similar situation on the other side for Dragon Ball.
So interestingly, both of the AD carries had saved their barrier. So both realizing that it wasn't in threat of them going down and they could save that particular one. We do see this middle lane, Shushay. He starts the game with 35 ability power, which is a significant amount. It does also mean that he's going to be pushing onto Morgana very early, but look at the damage here onto Hosan.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage here. He does have the barrier, which he's going to use, but he could well go down. He will go down. Dude that picks up the kill, and this is going to be a double kill for Dude. He secures them, but, well, they started off brilliantly here, Dragonborns, getting first blood. They've come back into lane, and that advantage is gone.
So the lane starts off immediately with Nono saying, Dude, help me out, and Dude, why did they take the kills? But he manages at least to pull away with those, which is great for him. And of course, the double assists onto Nono's Ezreal will at least give him some additional gold. He may decide to back off and pick up some boots. He should have enough of that one, which he does. And very crucially for Thresh, with Dude, he's going to get those GP10s or the side stone very, very early.
Yeah, as Yamato Cannon being stunned up in the top lane by Freddy122. Of course, Renekton being his most played champion in the European LCS up until now. Well, of course, it's not going to change. This is their final game before they get in towards the playoffs in that match against SK Gaming next week, as Yamato Cannon actually going very low from this one. Freddy not going to go any further, both running the elixir already.
Yeah, so this is going to be a matchup that's going to be quite fun to watch because it's fairly skill-related. They both have the ability to do a lot of damage. You have a shield from Riven, you have sustain from Renekton. So the longer the battle goes on, the more it's going to favor Renekton as he can regenerate his missing HP. Renekton so far in the LCS, 30 games played, 16 wins, 14 losses. So a fairly even win-loss ratio. But it's one of, as you mentioned, Freddy's most picks. You see Yamato getting a fair amount of poke, but Freddy's just going to use that Colombic and get that HP back shortly.
Yeah, giving himself all regen. Here's Dude waiting off to the side to see if he can get a grab onto either Move It or Hosan. Let's see if we can land that one. Right now, No, just racking up the CS. Hosan is actually slightly ahead of him right now, and well, Dude has hit a hook. Sadly enough, though, for him, it's onto a minion.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't who he was aiming for. There's a lot of minions around, so it's not a battle that they really wanted to pick anyway. Even with all those, with the possibility of going aggressive, you don't want to be tanking a wave and a half or 2 wave of minions as well. It's just going to give your opposing numbers a much bigger advantage. Dude, another tentative hook. He's really not liking the minions this matchup.
And pesky minions always getting in the way.
We do see in the mid lane, though, Virtual moving in for a gank, and Shushay not even under pressure of that one. He's just like, where were you aiming?
Yeah, manages to predict where that one was going, that's for sure. It's Freddy and Yamato Cannon just bashing heads. They're going to be doing that for the entire game here. Already up to 34 CS, so that's a really good total for this stage of the game for that Renekton up at the top. We see another hook not quite landing for Dude. So it's pretty much every time that death sentence comes off cooldown, he's just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and why not? If it does land, it can help. Now, in terms of CC, they're going to be relying on Maluno here. Can he get the knock-up?
Yeah, Maluno is going to get the knock-up. There is the kill for Maluno. The exhaust is down onto Nono. He's not in any danger, though. They're not going to chase in after that one. Nicely executed, and Dude gets caught out.
Yeah, so very well played. That aggression coming out of Nono and Dude paying off against them. Nono eats an Ice Blast for his troubles, not taking as much damage as one would hope. And just this bashing heads in the top. So well played by Maluno. It's the reason that Jarvan gets banned out against him. His ganks are very powerful, especially if you can get that knock-up in play. And like we said, that early game power that Draven has is just so difficult to deal with as a squishy target.
And that was an assist actually coming in there as well for him. We'll see what that's turned into next time. Ezreal, of course, came back into lane after his first trip back with the longsword and the boots. They need to be real careful because Dragonborns aren't scared of going under towers, especially when there's barrier and flashback up for Hosan.
No, not at all. They're a team that is very happy to dive, but unfortunately it's cost them many times in the past. They don't coordinate their dives quite as well as they need to. So we'll see how this pans out wisely this time around. Hosan and move that back away. But Slayer, as this game goes on, is going to have a lot of tools at his disposal to actually get a full channel off on those Soul Shackles, his ultimate. Renekton has a stun. You have Wither from Nasus. He's got a Dark Binding himself. And then if you think about the box and the Death Sentence and the Flay, all of that CC, hard and soft, from the slows and the stuns and roots, is just going to allow a full channel in his ulti and probably melting people.
No, Sapling's already doing good amounts of damage here from Shushei. He is going to go in there. There is the Black Shield coming out for Morgana.
So well played there by Maokai to keep the pressure. Maluno has been a very, very sneaky prince, and he snuck into the second set of Gracia by Freddy. And once Yamato Cannon rejoins, we may see another gank, but can they actually take him down? Maluno still is not level 6. He's going to get close to it, but on the bottom there's a fight.
Yeah, we are going to see them coming in here. Hosan down to half HP, but they get back towards the turret in the top lane. They didn't quite manage to get in, but here comes Slayer around the side. Can he land the Dark Binding? He's going to actually flash in there first of all. Salt Shackles are going to proc here on towards Mover. The Tormented Soil is down, and the Dark Binding misses. Slayer going very, very low. Will fall here, and Hosan surely going to turn around, have a pop at Dude as well. Well, here comes No-No from the side. Mover killed off by Dude. There is the Flay to knock Hosan up. Can he get away from it? No, he's going to surely go. He won't need to get under the turret. Oh, will he? Barrier used. There's the flashing. Misses the Mystic shot. No has to use his barrier as well. Absolute chaos.
It's not over yet because Shushei wants to play. He's bringing his little faces of tormention down, and will the Sapling pick up the kill? Throw it, man. Instead, he's just going to root him in place.
Yeah, Twisted advance straight in, and now Freddy is getting a bit clever up on this top lane. Yamato Cannon down fairly low, but Maluno, that's his name, coming in behind, is going to get the catch in there. They get the stun, Cataclysm, flash away from Freddy. Have they got the speed to get in there on top of him again? Are they just going to go under the turret? There we go, there's the answer. Yes, they will. Maluno gets the kill, flashes away.
Does manage to get to safety, quite aggressive, but they managed to make it work, and that is what matters. So Dragonborns with the early kill lead, 5-3. They stayed a little bit too long in that bottom lane, almost got taken out. And we'll see Virtual does manage to smite away that blue buff, and obviously denying the objective from Shushei is definitely going to play into their favor. Their blue buff will respawn shortly, and that'll be donated to Slayer very, very soon.
Let's have a look at some of the items that have come up here already. The AD carries, Berserker Greaves, Vamp Scepter, Double Doran's Blade for Hosan, compared to the Cutlass, Single Doran's Blade, and the Boots of Speed. Not upgraded just yet for Ezreal.
So an interesting pickup on that Bilgewater Cutlass. Ez isn't the champion. Oh, they've caught out Hosan.
There's the hook actually landing this time around. A bit of damage comes into No-No. Hosan gonna focus around on Dude. And in the end, they decide not to push any further.
Yeah, Dude wasn't level 6 yet, so he didn't have the box to put down and really try to win that matchup, but he will be hitting 6 relatively soon, so keep an eye open for that. And Ezreal, a champion that, you know, he can do well with the blade, but it's not a traditional item that you tend to see on him. But coming up against Jarvan and Riven, he wants to deal with the high health champions. In the jungle, though, Maluno has been with it.
Yeah, he has been with it here. This could be interesting, actually. Shushei going to come in around the side. Slayer going to get knocked away from his ultimate range, and he's surely going to die to that Ignite. Actually doesn't quite tick over on him. Slayer has killed Shushei. There's the Wither coming down. Maluno slides through. He's guessed wrong, but Yamato Cannon's coming in. There's the Cataclysm put down. That will allow Maluno to pick up the kill, and Dragonborn's back away, 1-for-1.
Yeah, Slam Dunk manages to drop Slayer, and with him going down, it's obviously another kill going into Maluno's hands. So 3-0-1 on that Jarvan. The makings of an Aegis of the Legion very, very early on, which is definitely going to play into their favor. And Dude, another tentative hook, but he hasn't been very lucky with those hooks thus far. Thanks to the kills that he got earlier, plus the third kill, he actually has 2 GP10s already ticking over and generating more gold, as opposed to just a single one for his opposite number Movet.
There is Yamato Cannon and Freddy again bashing faces, stunning each other up. Freddy coming out better from that one though. You have to feel that this lane is definitely a skill matchup. I mean, Yamato Cannon versus Freddy, on the champions, of course, that they are playing. You see him go back and forth the entire time. Freddy, though, he's at a little bit of a level disadvantage. Gone for that Giant's belt straight away. Double Doran's blade plus a long sword for Yamato Cannon. Yeah, exactly like you said. It's just a matchup that's going to be back and forth the entire time. Freddy, with that additional HP and the fact that he can regenerate health with his Q, means he's not going to be at much threat of going down to Yamato, because Riven needs time to chunk you down, needs time to continually bash away and then execute you with her ultimate herself. So good matchup there for Freddy. He'll just be farming himself out, but credit to Yamato for keeping up in CS. This bottom lane against the Authority are applying pressure, and it looked like Maluno was coming down, but instead he was going middle, and now he's trying to find somewhere to play. He doesn't know which party he wants to get involved in. There is Dude. Actually, a bit of damage being exchanged as a snowball comes down. Maluno now going to get involved on this bottom lane. Does have Cataclysm available. Surely will end up locking one of them up, and it will be Dude who goes down to Hosan. Will he continue to push? No. No is actually going aggressive here. 1 versus 3. What he is going to force them out, but you can also see that Slayer as well as Virtual moving towards that bottom lane. Dragonborns were not interested in picking yet another fight. Good play by the Dragonborns to maintain that kill advantage, but they did use a lot for Dude. Take a look at Maluno's positioning. They may go for this tower dive that we were talking about earlier, but luckily for Nono, Virtual is around. And it's going to make that gank virtually impossible to succeed. See what you did there. Slayer taking pressure from Shushay in the middle lane. Let's stick the ultimate down for a while. Riven coming in here as well, so it looks like the Dragonborns may try to set up something here for the Dragon. Virtual coming in. Will actually use his smite there to get the big Wraith, which is maybe not the best choice since, as I said, Dragon. Yeah, so they're going to roll back around for Dragon. They do have a positions advantage as well as a number advantage. This will be 5 versus 4 at best without having a teleport in play, but the rest of Against the Authority will say, well, this will give us free time to push down the lanes. They put some damage down in the mid lane turret, and it looks like Freddy's applying a lot of damage in the top lane. So we'll see how much HP that has shortly. This Dude coming back down into the lane. Ezreal, where was he? Oh, he was hiding there on the minimap behind Dude's icon. Again, exchanging things up with Hosan, but you know, having that Vamp Scepter in there certainly going to be helping things out. The red buff going to be stolen away by Dragonborns. Don't forget, there was no smite for Virtual, even if he was around there to secure that one. Shushay may be in trouble here in the middle, though. Will flash away, but not enough to get out of range of the Soul Shackles. There is a Dark Bind in a Tormented Soil. A Q from Virtual finishes off. Nice kill from Against All Authority. But look at this, the dive is coming in. Absolute Zero flashed away from him. Didn't actually end the channel before the flash from Dude came in, and Dude's going to walk away. So it's AD carry dies, and he's like, well, I got the kills here, I'm carrying. So they trade 1 for 1 at the end of the day. You see the top lane tower going down for Dragonborns, which means Freddy's going to carry on with the pressure. Virtual actually used his ultimate in the mid lane. He's been caught out here by Maluno. Yeah, in the end, not deciding to go forward. And look at that, Virtual popping his ghost just to get that Spirit Fire down. In the same time, Freddy is bashing away on this top turret. Slayer going to be doing the same in the middle. It's going to force Dragonborns to recall, but they need to get a move on about this one, because there's going to be a lot of damage coming to both. Yeah, it's something they're going to need to figure out how to handle right now, and relying on Hosan's ultimate there to clear the mid wave. What we did notice about the mid lane gank when Slayer and Virtual came in, you need to remember that when that Tormented Soil, the W from Morgana's down, it's reducing magic resist, and of course when Nasus puts his Spirit Fire down, that's also going to be reducing armor. So whatever defensive statistics they build up, it's going to be dropping that in an AoE area, so that's definitely going to be playing into Against All Authority's favor. Yep, and you see the very early Runic Bulwark picked up there by Jarvan as a counter to that. So, blue buff going to go over to Shushay. Maluno just tanking that one up. And a very chaotic match as we kind of hope for, actually, with, you know, the fact that no team in this matchup can change position in the league. And it's just about that whole pride thing coming into the final stages of the spring split. And so far, it's definitely produced. Yeah, really, really close to a kill a minute. And it's just been non-stop action from both of these teams, plus the slightly unique picks of that Riven in the top lane. Hosan's going forward, and he just sidesteps the death sentence, but pay careful attention to Shushay's positioning on the map. I'm not even going to need Shushay. No, the exhaust is down though onto Hosan. Maybe in a little bit of trouble. Shushay coming in there is the absolute zero. Dude's not going to flash this one. Shushay gets the kill with a twisted advance, moving in.
Now take a look at this. Virtual's joining the party, and Schleier's coming from the tri-bush. He has his ultimate available. Can he land the shackle? No.
No. Straight through the middle of them both. And I think they expected that one to come down. Nicely done from Dragon Mortal. Look at this. They've turned around and they're actually going in fairly aggressive in towards that jungle area. Shushay on that Maokai, who's definitely more at home in the jungle. And Virtual is chasing in here as well. Hosan doing good damage as they go back. Mover going to be the one that gets tagged up in this one, though, as the Wither does go down. Maokai's ultimate is in there. Shushay will take down Virtual. Mover going to go down in this one. Surely Schleier's just completely ignored him to get the kill on Draven. Oh. There is the finisher though, double kill. Shushay will turn that one around. Can he now get in on top of No? It looks like he's going for it.
He's going to be able to at least get that root up very soon, but he doesn't have consistent damage, and he's going to need the saplings to help him out in this particular engagement. Wisely, Shushay decides to back away, so they trade 2 for 2. Another interesting battle, and something that's very, very key to keep an eye on, is the fact that Hosan can build just attack damage and allow the Blood Boil of Mover to count for his movement speed and attack speed. And that's why he was able to do so much damage to Dude and No in that bottom lane engagement.
Let's have a look at the CS. 134 to 113. That's No being a bit more concentrated on killing the minions rather than going for those masses of kills, which we all know Hosan loves to pick up. Got that Blade of the Ruin King in there. BF Sword, Crit Cloak, and the Vamp Scepter as that middle turret goes down from Yamato Cannon.
And also something that you can't discount from that bottom lane is the fact that Dude was continually throwing out those death sentences. So what it does for Hosan and for Mover, Hosan got the hit, but it was the exact second, the exact millisecond that Hosan got away. So it didn't interrupt it, unfortunately. But yeah, because of those death sentences, it forced the Dragon Lord's members to play a little bit more passively, be a bit more wary of their positioning. And that obviously means you're going to miss 1 or 2 extra CS in that bottom lane.
Yamato Cannon just sidestepping a Dark Binding coming out there. Looks like Hosan and Mover going to go into the jungle. I think they just realized that Freddy might end up coming down, trying to close them off on that front. What other items have we got built up here? Maokai with that Sunfire Cape and a Haunting Guise.
So quite an interesting build. It's the first time we've seen mid lane Maokai, and at the moment Shushay is saying I want to go a little tanky with a little bit of penetration. Pops his ultimate just to reduce whatever following damage was going to come in. What it does mean is that his saplings will hurt a bit, but not necessarily the greatest. And you can see in terms of the trades, Hosan is winning out with those spinning axes and all the additional damage that he's got from that BF sword and that critical cloak.
Actually, it does have barrier available as well as he goes in for another hit. Axe spins back in his direction. Here we go. He's going to go in for another one. Arcade Shift. Just running back and forth here. An interesting duel in this bottom lane.
It's like those fights in high school. So you want to fight, and they start pushing each other back and forth, but nobody actually commits to the fight. And No is just doing the best he can to stay in experience range and to CS as best as possible. And here comes Hosan again. He's going to run up, but Shushay's been caught up in the middle.
Yeah, Shushay going to be caught out stunned, but here comes Maluno. What's his plan to save Shushay? The hook across the wall. And actually, Shushay did manage to get away with the flash, but not for long. There's Cataclysm holding Freddy down underneath the tower. He gets out via the lantern of Dude, though. That was a nice, clean play. 1 kill for nothing.
Great play, and that death sentence through the wall was so well placed from Dude, holding Shushay in place. He did have an instantaneous flash the moment it was, he was able to, so at least put him to safety. But nevertheless, 1 for 0. Good dive from Against All Authority. It's what they're going to need to continue doing if they want to pull themselves back into it. Now, at the moment, Dragonborns have very little vision in the jungle, and it looks like Shushay and Schleier may be wanting to go in.
Well, this could get interesting. We do have Yamato Cannon there as well, and it's going to be smited down by Maluno. Nice clean pickup once again, but will they get away cleanly? That's the real question. No going to be chasing in first. Freddy coming from the backside as well as Mover going to head south. He's basically going to be the sacrificial lamb. He's going to try an Empire, but he's got no AP, and he dies.
Did a fair amount of damage on that channel, but yeah, he was pretty much just pulling the enemies away. Trading Dragon for 1 death, you've got to be more than happy with that. At the moment, though, Against All Authority have a numbers advantage, and they're applying pressure on the bottom lane. Look at Schleier's positioning from the side. He may want to go in here.
Yeah, if it stays at 1 death, that is definitely true. Yamato Cannon is going to die there. Schleier's ultimate Wasn't
used
particularly needed.
No, I don't think that was needed at all, but he did feel like, Hosan was in range and he just wanted to get the guaranteed kill. So fair play, I suppose. He is level 12, which means his ultimate's in around about 110-second cooldown. Shusha has been caught out again. Can Slayer get the Dark Binding?
Yes, he can. Lands it right in there. We are going to see that Tormented Soil coming down. Hosan's off to the side. Maluno is going to be in there with him as well. And Virtual is going for this one. He's going to get knocked up. I'm not sure they can actually catch around. Now he's the one that's going to have to back away. Pops his ghost. Runs back in. Runs back out. Lantern will bring him to safety.
The entire time that was happening, Nono was able to get the tower in the bottom lane. Look at Maluno. He's in no man's land.
Yeah, they've all had a way to... They were all waiting, hidden in the bush. It's been a long weekend, guys. But they were all waiting, hidden in the bush. Maluno didn't know it.
So he does manage to get away with his life. Thank goodness for that knock-up and that flag that he can pull himself towards. But against all authority, they've just evened out that gold, closed it to within 1,500, 2,000 odd gold. The tower's now evened up at 2-2. And of course, the timing on that dragon means that's probably going to be the next objective. You can see the gold numbers at the bottom of your screen, fairly close. A couple 100 gold here and there, 700 in the top, about 1,000 in the mid lane. It's not massive amounts right now, but it's a definite advantage with the Dragon Balls.
Yep, and they are going to be pushing this bottom lane out once again. That's where most of the action's really taking place. It seems like she just got bored of that mid lane once the turret went down. He's like, well, I'm just going to go bottom. I'm going to keep pushing that one out here with those saplings, which right now destroy minion waves.
So they've got very good, wave clear with that smash and with those saplings. And he hasn't built any more ability power sitting on that blue pot right now. So I'd like to see where he itemizes next. Interestingly, in this top lane, with that Bloodthirster, Yamato Cannon is out trading as far as damage goes with Renekton. So that does bode well for the Dragonborns as far as the upcoming team fights are concerned.
Can they take the turret? Hosan is going to be coming up there. Looks like Nunu will make his appearance as well in this top lane. And Freddy is actually just going to face check straight in here. He will get knocked away, but can he escape this one? There is Nunu from the back, and Freddy gives up. Yamato Cannon gets a kill.
He pretty much just stood there and said, yeah, I'm going to go down. This kind of sucks. What did we learn there, kids? Don't face check bushes. It never ends well. What it does mean now, Dragonborns have got a 3-man stack on this top lane with a Blood Boil and Hosan with an Infinity Edge as well as Yamato Cannon and the Bloodthirster. That tower gets shredded in a matter of seconds, but they are not done. They continue the pressure.
Yeah, they're going to keep going for this one. Will they go in for Dude? There was the Lantern for Virtual. As you did see the hook actually land. Wither is down. Dragonborn's gonna back off.
So Schleier's coming in for a fight here in the bottom lane. Shusha is coming up behind Nono. Let's see how Against Authority can do with a battle on two fronts.
Schleier does have flash available. There's the Dark Binding. It's gonna land on towards Mover. He gets hooked in as well. And he flashes over the top of the wall, but I think the Ignite's gonna be enough. Yes, final take there will kill him. That is Nono actually being finished off by Shusha down in the bottom though. Action all over the place.
So they trade 2 for 1, but Jarvan and Maokai taking out Ezreal. If you look at his summoner spells, Flash and Barrier was used. So they got the summoner spells as well. Schleier opens with the Soul Shackles and it's immediately broken.
Yeah, broken, but the rest of the team following up. Can Hosan get in there? He's going to get flayed back there as Yamato Cannon tries to escape. And in goes Dude, will flash in there. Yamato Cannon's still alive. This is going to be a double kill for Hosan. Crazy, crazy stuff in the top lane.
Yamato Cannon's got the moves like Jäger because he just sidestepped everything. And the Whirling Death almost picks up Schleier, but it just misses, just slides off to the side. So well played. Hosan is now 5-5. But Against Authority pick up a tower. So they've lost kills, they've given away gold, but they've taken a map objective. And it's going to, time will see what is more important.
Hosan is right now stealing away the jungle. Renekton's going to come around the side. Schleier going to come from the front side. Hosan now in a lot of trouble here as the Dark Binding lands as well. And he is sniped off from Nono with a True Shot Barrage. Cheers for the double buffs, mate.
Exactly. Even more importantly, the double buffs going over to Hosan is just going to balance out that little bit of a deficit he gave away earlier. But you have to question, what was Hosan doing there? Why was he taking the Wolf Camp? There was a couple of wards, he had no other backup. And he just figured it was going to be a freebie, but unfortunately cost him his life. And now that, double buffs going over to his direct opposite number.
Let's see if he can make any kind of impact on this one. Schleier's now in that top lane. So after the mid turret's gone down, the mid lane has been all over the place in this one. If we have a look down the items once again, we've seen that Zhonya's is now finished for Morgana. Crucial item there. There's the blasting one, plus the Negatron cloak. Headed up towards that Abyssal Scepter. So, what do we have for Maokai? Needlessly Large Rod, Haunting Guy, Sunfire Cape, and the Sorcerer Shoes.
So there's one thing that Dragonborns are going to need to be very, very careful of is where they fight in these particular engagements. Once that Abyssal Scepter is completed, it's going to drop everyone's magic resist. In conjunction with the magic resist reduction that comes out of Morgana's Tormented Soil, and then all of the AoE magic damage from the Sunfire Capes, from the ultimates, it's going to be very difficult to deal with. Dragon has respawned. Dragonborns have some vision on this. This is going to be a 5 versus 5. They're not 100% convinced about this battle as Dragon lands one auto attack onto the ward.
Yeah, there's the saplings running out. Doing a decent chunk of damage there to Dude. As Jarvan needs to get involved here if this one's all going to kick off. He's pushed that bottom lane out. Dragonborn still hanging back. Meluno is now finally going to be coming in. There is another sapling landing on Dude. Blue buff going to be given over to Shushe.
With that needlessly large rod, they are hitting very, very hard. Each sapling lands for 250 damage and then explodes for a further 400. So if they hit multiple targets, that's pretty good damage. With that Dark Binding landing, Against Authority may think that this might be the engagement. Ultimate use from Hosan, and there goes Freddy.
Yeah, we're going to see them go into this one. Freddy on towards Yamato Cannon already. There's the Absolute Zero coming down. Freddy goes low. Not quite finished off just yet, though. Mover is the one that's dead. Thresh died. Double kill now for Shushe. In comes Morgana. It's a bit back and forth. This one as Nono tries to escape on that top side, but Hosan wants his double buffs back, and he'll get his double buff back here with a triple kill and an ace for Dragonborn.
So 3 kills for Hosan, 2 kills for Shushe. It seems the hair is the story here. If you don't have long hair, you can't get the kill. They now turn onto the Dragon. They're going to pick that one up. Extend the gold lead to 6,000 right now. That Infinity Edge plus additional BF Sword and the Blood Boil for Hosan is just too much to handle. But well played by them. They managed to pick up a convincing teamfight win, to be honest, after everything had exploded.
Yeah, and you see that Hosan hurts a lot with that Infinity Edge in there and what have you. He's pretty painful stuff. Added to his kill tally there as well, now 837. We see a Giant's Belt being picked up by Mover as well on Nunu, and that's been the problem for him, really. He's died too early during these fights.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to do too much, but the fact that they have to focus him means that there's less eyes on Yamato Cannon and on Hosan, which buys them the time that they need to get those auto attacks down. So it's not the end of the world, but yeah, if he could get a better channel off his ultimate, that'll play into their favor. What I do like is the Hourglass from Shushe. He's going to be able to, go in, root somebody in place, Hourglass up, and allow the rest of the team to just surround his opponent. So great item pickup, and we'll see how well he can use it in upcoming team fights.
So you may be wondering why Nono didn't use the Blade of the Ruin King in that last little fight. Well, it turns out he didn't bind the key. He just wrote that in chat here, so better make sure your key bindings are right before you get into the games. Lesson learned, I think, from Nono, albeit a little bit late on in the season. Their final game, of course, in our Super Week here. Dragonborn's now going to be pushing down towards that middle inner turret. The hook not quite landing. And Meluno's right up there on the turret. I'm wondering if Dragonborns are just going to go in for this one.
The Dragonborns get a good chunk of damage just off that single wave on that inner mid. And as soon as this next minion wave moves up there, obviously going to go back into it. Slayer's positioning off to the side with Flash and with Soul Shackles available. He may decide to dive in there and get even more aggressive. So it's a pretty good positioning. Then instead, the Dragonborns decide to back off. That Oracle's Elixir on Mover is denying vision the entire time that they're moving around here on the map. And they might be trying to bait out a Baron.
So you see there the buffs that we have as well all over the place on Dragonborns. They are literally everywhere on that team right now. They've been passed around so much. So, where are we at? Let's have a look at the gold. 6,000 here, 3-3 in those turrets. 20 to 14, there's the individual gold. Still around that mark that we were talking about earlier in some places, but a couple of thousand here, a couple of thousand there. Dragonborn's starting to, look the stronger team at this point, but Hosan might be in trouble.
Against Authority have stacked up as 4 here, but it does seem like Dragonborns are aware of this and they're moving around. This was the bush that caused them trouble last time. Let's see if they've learned from the mistakes. At the moment, it's the rest of Against Authority. That's a ghost in.
Yeah, they're going to go for Hosan. They managed to get the kill on him as well as Ezreal shuts him down.
They landed everything. Dog binding with the tormented soil. They got the everything on him. That's the best way to describe it. But Dragonborns have decided to hot-foot it down the mid lane. They are chasing for this mid-inner turret, and they're going to pick it up. So again, you have to feel trading one death for an inner turret. That's something the Dragonborns are going to be happy with. And a good, map awareness or map decision from the team.
Yeah, really nicely done from them. We've actually seen home guard boots come in now on 4 out of the 5 against all Authority members for this one. So they want to be getting straight back into the action. It's a similar story on the other side, 3 of them. And Movelet's gone for that standard support Nunu build of 2 Giants belts.
And don't forget that the home guard boots could be in there because of the base race that happened several weeks ago, where Dragonborns are like, yeah, we can take the race, let's go for it. They were winning for 35 minutes of the game, decide to base race, and against all Authority, were quicker at crossing over the line and getting past the hurdles. Xuxie's picking a fight with Freddy, and he may win it.
Yeah, Freddy is in a lot of trouble here, as we are going to see them going in. Maluno actually flashed over there. They got to keep chasing down Freddy. There's the stun. Where's the finishing hit? There it is. Yamato Cannon picks that one up. No is hammering away on Move It, though, but those 2 Giants belts doing the work here to keep him alive, and maybe long enough to the rest of the team get in. Brilliant Cataclysm, but the flash comes down. Morgana is going to get the stun off onto a couple, but Move It's hiding around the corner. He waited too long until Morgana had got out of the Absolute Zero, and that's going to keep her alive. Maluno now surely will be the target. He slides out of the action, though, and this is another crazy fight. Nunu is running as fast as he possibly can to try and get away from this. There's the ward down. The Tormented Soil, not enough to get the kill.
Schleier's not done. He's still chasing Nunu. He wants to get that kill, but you're not going to catch a blood-boiled Nunu. So we end up trading 2 for 1, top laner and support for the top laner of Dragonborns. Another team fight, which they were victorious in. And you have to give props to Yamato Cannon in that fight. He stayed alive for a very long time. And the fact that Against Authority had to re-engage 2 or 3 times just to kill him allowed the rest of his team to continue fighting. And Hosun was untouched. Nobody even looked at him in that team fight. He just fought his way through and managed to get away safely.
That's definitely not ideal. Infinity Edge, Bloodthirst, the last whisper now in for Hosan. You've got to focus him down. He's going to just destroy you if you don't.
Yeah, there's not a lot that you can do. Even with the Randian's Omen and, some additional armor in there, he's going to be shredding through, especially when you add Blood Boil, which has almost been maxed out. It's at rank 4 right now, giving 11% attack speed and movement speed, attack speed by 40%, movement speed by 11% at this time.
That's a lot of pain very quickly coming out of Hosan once that blood boils on him. A few wards going down. We see an Oracle there on duty. He's just been clearing out around that Baron area. See if Dragonborns decide to go with anything from that front. Another last whisper added into the game here, as No picked one up, adding that to his Blade of the Ruin King and Infinity Edge as well.
There's lots of physical damage here from both teams, and Dragon has just respawned, so we'll see who's going to have position for this. There's no vision from either team, meaning that they're just going to need to brute force their way in, and it appears as though Against All Authority have the timer for this. They've got the Oracles running to clear the wards, like you pointed out, and placing some vision around will at least let them know once the Dragonborns move in to invade. So 3 members of AAA are now setting up, and they've started the Dragon.
Dragon started off, and I think this would be the first Dragon for Against All Authority, if my mind serves me correctly, in this game so far. They are going to take that one down. That brings the gold back to 6,500. Still, of course, the lead for Dragonborns in this. So, where's the next fight going to come in? I'm kind of surprised at the way that Dragonborns let that go, to be honest.
Yeah, so Dragonborns at the moment, that either tells me they didn't have the timer for that, or they just forgot about it. It's one of the two, because AAA pretty much moved up there the second it respawned. And Dragonborns, they had no position, they weren't stacked up, they were pretty much just clearing their jungles and pushing the waves down. What I do see, though, is very little vision wards in the hands of the Dragonborns. Outside of that Ruby Sightstone, nobody else has wards to put down, so expect that to be the next sort of focus for the team. And very importantly, Yamato Cannon just picked up a Guardian Angel.
Yep, Guardian Angel for the Riven, along with another Last Whisper and that Bloodthirst that was completed first of all. Anything else to add in there? Needlessly Large Rod with the Abyssal Scepter and Zonya's now for the Morgana.
Yeah, so there's nothing too exciting in terms of itemization. Xuxe does have a good chunk of ability power right now, 288 with that Abyssal Scepter, the Haunting Guys, and of course that Zhonya's Hourglass. I'd like to see if it gets upgraded to a Leandry's. Right now though, Dragonborns, they've gone in on Virtual.
Yep, Xuxe going in for that one. We will see the Dark Binding land. There is the ultimate coming out of Draven, who's going to be joining the fight here. No at the back is doing a lot of damage from this one as well, but can they get the kill onto him? Maluno's actually locked them up with the Cataclysm. Freddy's going to go very low, finished off in the end by Yamato Cannon. Double kill for Riven. No, not quite knocked up there by Jarvan, but Hosan is still tearing down the middle lane. He's going to be gone onto a killing spree now as he takes down Thresh. They're going to back off the Baron.
Complete decimation by the Dragonborns. First and foremost, Maluno completely zoned out Nono from that fight. He prevented him from dealing any damage at all. Hosan went untouched in that particular engagement, took a tiny bit of fringe area of effect damage, but he was not the focus at all. And the Dragonborns just stayed as a tightly knit unit and focused down one target after one target after one target. A great fight for them, and they secure Baron off that. Nono's doing the best he can to counter push this bottom lane, but I don't imagine he's going to get quite as far as he would like.
No, I don't imagine so either. Let's have a look, see what kind of gold totals we're sat on here for Dragonborns. They must have a lot of money to spend. 1,700 there for Draven, 1,000 for Nuno, maybe a third giant spell for Mover, and 1,300 coming out as Maluno is chasing Nono on this bottom lane. There is the Randuin's Omen, and here comes Xuxe as well. Nono is not going to escape that.
You don't expect that sort of damage from a Maokai, who is actually pretty bursty. But like I said, he does have a lot of ability power. Also combine in there the Sheen now, so he's going to be, smacking after his abilities even harder as well. So a nice item pickup. I'd like to see how Mover decides to upgrade that Giant Spell. We actually noticed when we were looking at the gold that he's 700 gold ahead of his lane counterpart, thanks to 16 assists. Yeah. All of those dragons and obviously the Baron is obviously playing into his favor. So we'll see how that works out as Maluno literally just shoves Freddy out of that lane and says, no, this is our jungle. Please leave, you're not welcome here.
Yep, and now Dragonborn's headed on towards that bottom inner turret. That's going to go down without any kind of reply from Against All Authority. Dark Binding comes in, catches Maluno, but not really much to talk about on that front. Dragonborn's going to set themselves up now. With those saplings hitting for so hard, they are really good for sieging.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that works for Against Authority as well, to deal with the siege. That amount of AoE wave clear that can get put down from the Spirit Fire, from the Tormented Soil, is obviously going to play into their favor. The hook goes out, once again catches a minion, so it's not really going to be who they're aiming for. And I think Against Authority need to be very careful about how they engage. This is a Baroned up team. They don't really want to dive past their tower in a team fight.
And I just noticed as well that Xuxe's got over 300 CS here on this Maokai. Been clearing amazingly well up till now. What's the next plan here, though, for Dragonborns? There's an inner turret in the top lane. Middle, of course, is down to the inhibitor turret. And there's a big wave, or there was, I should say, a big wave of minions in that top lane. We will see the Draven ultimate just go up there and clear that out from range.
So the biggest problem for Dragonborns right now is that waves are pushing against them, which is why that ultimate was used to clear it out. And look at that damage. That's a single auto attack from Draven onto arguably the tankiest member of Against All Authority. Now, we do know that Dragonborns do tend to get ants in their pants, and after getting bored for a little while, they will tower dive. So we need to keep that in mind. However, luckily, the waves in the top lane will be pushing against All Authority, and the bottom lane will be in favor of Dragonborns as well very, very shortly.
Yeah, I guess in that Dragonborns are either going to move here or send someone back now. But I'd say probably more like go in for this one as Freddy. He's going to take a big amount of damage there. Hosan moving in towards the turret. He doesn't care about the attacks coming in from the side. Xuxe going to get involved here. Hosan at the back. He's coming in as well as Slayer, waiting to get that ultimate off, but it's not going to proc onto anyone this time around. Virtual being attacked by Hosan. He's right at the back here. Just been chipping away when he possibly could get in there for the damage. Wow. 2 hits onto Nono. Almost ends him, but no men are down at this point. Nono needs to go back and help and heal. The turret is going to go down as well. The inhibitor may well fall afterwards as Hosan on the top side is still trying to make that impact. Freddy going to dive in. The hook will land onto Hosan. Will they be able to take him down? There is the box, but dude gets popped for his pleasure. And now Nono back into the fight, locked up inside of the Cataclysm. Hosan is still going. It's a double kill for him. They're going to go to the inhibitor. That's 4 kills. No did back away once again. He's going to have to try and heal, come back into the fight, but it's looking like this is it for Dragonborns.
Dragonborns can finish it right here with how tanky the members are and the fact they've got all 5 of them. They are just going to face check these turrets, take them down, pick up the win. Dragonborns in the last game of the season pick up a victory against All Authority, and a great fight. They're even going to draw the last little bit, give a couple extra kills over. But well played to the Dragonborns. So much damage from Draven. I think the Challenger teams will be paying attention to that one. Remember, for bans.
Well, Dragonborns, a little bit too late to pull out something like that. Maybe we should have seen it a little earlier on in the season. But nonetheless, good solid victory for them. They're going to have a week off now to prepare for that promotion relegation game, which could seal a fate that they'll definitely not be hoping for, which is not playing in the LCS Summer Split. Either way, that's it for us here on the casting desk for this game. We're going to go over to the analysis for this one. Demon and Jason.
Yes, thank you very much, Joe. And, well, a little bit of a wild game, back and forth, some crazy kills all across the map. And maybe, just maybe, Dragonborns should have played with that carefree ability earlier on in the season. They would have picked up a couple more wins, because that's only really their 6th win of the season. And that's not really what they wanted, but it's against All Authority. Weren't really fully committed to that game, I feel, but I think both teams were having a lot of fun.
I think Joe and Quickshot hit the nail on the head, talking about let's give everyone some champions they want to play and let them have fun with, because why would you give Hosan Draven ever? And of course, Shurshay using AP Maokai, I mean,
well, he had fun, that's for sure.
Worked,
AP Maokai,
but, you know,
he got 8-3-13 with AP Maokai, by the way. But there's not really a great deal we can analyze from that game, because it wasn't super serious. There wasn't a great deal really picked up from that one, other than a nice win for Dragonborns. And Dragonborns fans out, they'll be happy with that one. But how do you analyze that one? Meet Your Makers, they're going to look at that game, or Dexter is Actually Evil. We always write them off. Dexter is Actually Evil could beat Meet Your Makers. They have to play each other first, but they're going to be looking at that game and thinking, what do we work from this one? One thing we do work is absolutely ban Draven.
Yeah, that is a definite thing. But I think they're going to look at this and kind of ignore it, besides the fact of Draven, because Dragonborns, like we saw against Authority, like when DU came into the team, they completely transformed. Like they became an amazing team. Dragonborns have that potential to do it, and with these 2 weeks they're going to have, we could see that happen. So I don't think Meet Your Makers can fully scout them, other than what they really like to play.
And I always think the talent is there with Dragonborns.
Yes.
The problem is the lack of motivation. If they can sit down as a team and focus, like the Wolves have, for example, they could definitely focus on there and actually pick up wins. But we do have an MVP for that game, and of course, who else would it be? It is one of the long-haired members. It is Hosan, of course. He ended up going 13-4-10 for his team there. Those spinning axes, of course, were picking up all the kills. But, I could have also gone with Maluno as well, because he went 4-18 in the jungle. But it was fantastic performance by both players, and really, an overly aggressive game, just the way Dragonborns like it. But, of course, we are going to pass over to the interview. So it's over to Shox in a lovely yellow dress for the final time. Not quite the final time, actually. It's the penultimate time. I think we'll go with that one. Over on the main stage.
Thank you. I'm getting the impression you really like my dress. You can borrow it sometime if you want, Demon. But anyway, Hosan, not banning out a Draven against you is a mistake by the other team.
Well, they did good. I mean, I didn't even expect so much damage from Ezreal, so... Well, Thresh took the double kill, but still. Afterwards, it went well for us. Draven is really good if you have advantage. If you are behind, it's like every champion. Well, even worse, because you have to catch the X. And if they can one-shot you, it's really annoying. But yeah, it went good for us. We have seen that Draven is still broken. But yeah, I liked it.
Then you also had the Maokai, an experimental pick in the mid lane. How did that work out for your team comp as the game progressed?
Well, Shushay really wanted Maokai in the middle. We were like, oh my god, it's Morgana. It's like worst pick against Maokai. Ah, well, we can do it. So we did it. Shushay, I think, is happy about it. But yeah, it was experimental. It worked out. I think it's situational, because it has to go in and it can easily die. But I think it can work.
All right, good win for you guys, and it was needed, of course, because you're in the bottom 2, and you're going to have to go and do promotion, relegation. So what's your state of mind now? You got a week, 2 weeks to practice. You got to do it now. Yeah,
I think we didn't really, like... we didn't really think that we are like the last place, we can't win anymore, we have no chances to qualify. We were actually happy that we're started to doing better and better. We're gonna have a boot camp as well. So yeah, I think we have fair chances to qualify in the relegations. So see you soon.
Thank you very much, Hosan, and good luck in relegation. All right, our very last game of the weekend is a big one because every single time these teams meet, they put on one hell of a show in the LCS. The score is currently 2-1 in the LCS to SK Gaming, but EG will have to even it out here if they want to show us what they're made of. So Ocelot versus Froggen after the break.